Hello and welcome to Recently in Counter-Strike, or RICS for short, your one-stop shop for all Counter-Strike 2 professional news. Swedish CS continues to fumble, or I suppose Joel continues to fumble, because this guy kind of had everything handed to him on a silver platter, and he has managed to just completely grief it and throw it all away. So originally, he was banned for match fixing way back when, or it was either match fixing or betting offences way back when, like in 2023, was it? Yeah, down here we can see in September 2023, he was banned for engaging in corrupt behaviour, which was just match fixing. Then he was banned for cheating by Acres Anti-Cheat, and he said, "Oh, it wasn't me. I didn't do anything wrong. You know, it's a false positive." BC Game obviously immediately benched him, and it was under investigation. And now, as of today, the 3rd of April, eSig have handed Joel a lifetime ban. Not only for cheating, which they have found like undeniable proof of, but also blackmailing eSig, or trying to blackmail eSig. There's a really interesting HTV article here. I'm not going to read too much about it, but they found a premium hardware cheat on his PC, included triggerbot, aimbot, and ESP features. And he initially said, "Oh, it had nothing to do with me." And then later on, he admitted to the cheating, and then tried to blackmail eSig anyway. And so they've basically said, "All right, you've had your chances," and they've now banned this kid for life. Which is very fair. I mean, the kid's obviously he's an idiot, isn't he? You know, there's nothing else you can really say, and he's got what he's deserved. Jacob has managed to get himself in a little bit of trouble after admitting to wrongdoing in a skin borrowing scandal, as it has been phrased. So essentially, if you're unfamiliar with the idea of skin borrowing, it's the idea that professional players reach out to high-tier collectors or vice versa. So the collector gets to show off their skins, and the player gets to have a very expensive, very rare, very overpriced skin to use. So everybody sort of wins. And this has been going on for a very long time. It's very prominent, and it's also relatively drama-free for the most part. That was until Jacob of BC Game has been accused of owing more than 10,000 worth of skins to this guy. And this is apparently all the way back from 2023, when Jacob attended the Paris Major with Apex, and they reached the quarterfinal and they did really good, and, you know, it was supposed to be a good time. So apparently Jacob borrowed these skins, gambled them all away, and then said, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I'll make sure I get that back to you as soon as." And he just kept putting it off time and time and time again, and that's eventually led this trader to go public and say, "This is what Jacob's done. You know, I want my money back." So apparently Jacob, he came to Twitter and he said, "Yep, it's all true. I have a gambling problem, yada, yada, yada. I'll make it right, though. Here we go. I fucked up badly, and there is more than one case. I will pay back everything to everyone I owe in money/skins." So originally it was only this one trader that was talking about this, but the fact that he says there is more than one case, he's self-admitting this. So Jacob, you know, there clearly is a problem with the way he's doing things in his life right now. So hopefully he can get himself sorted, and everybody can come out of this on the other side. In an unrelated story, I saw Lele get accused of this on Twitter as well, and for some reason Thorin just hates Lele, so he got right in the comment section and started cussing Lele out. And then Lele fired back, basically saying he was innocent, but he'll pay the guy anyway. So I'm not really sure how that works. Flat Earth brain, I guess. And then Fox, Fox, the Portuguese player, he came in and started cussing out Thorin because he hates Thorin too. And it just sort of devoided into a little bit of a war in this guy's comment section on Twitter between three completely unrelated people, which is quite funny. More roster changes in the Tier 1 scene as siuhy has joined Liquid on loan, but I will assume this is just sort of until his contract expires or they can reach some sort of deal to buy him out of Mouse to join the team on a permanent basis. So yes, siuhy is into Liquid. JKS is out, of course. It was only ever going to be him or Naf, let's be honest. And supposedly, siuhy is going to be in-game leading, which that's why you pick him up. The guy's he's a great young, talented in-game leader, which means that Twists is going to be going back to what Twist does best, which is just clicking heads. So a pretty standard move. I don't think anybody was really this was really way out of left field. I didn't see any sort of leaks or rumors around it, but everybody knew it was only a matter of time. Shuby had three choices. He goes to Liquid, he goes to G2, or he goes to Falcons. Obviously, Liquid have won the bet. They'll be picking him up. I'm sure G2 are probably less than happy about this one, because if they weren't looking at replacing Snacks, they probably shouldn't even be on the scene anymore. It's a pretty basic decision to try and get this player. Obviously, Falcons' situation, that's a little bit different. They've just sort of picked this new roster up, so Kicksan, he's not going anywhere yet, I guess, and they've not had the world's worst results. But this is absolutely an upgrade. I think it sort of goes without saying, to be honest. Oh, they also kicked, I completely forgot about this, they also kicked Mither. And they now have Demars Derova, who is their interim coach. So, obviously, a lot of drama within this team. But let's hope that they found some sort of stable ground here with Shuey. Dread it, run from it. The Falcons bag arrives all the same. Monesy is supposedly very close on the cusp of joining Falcons, joining his adoptive father, Nico, on the Saudi Arabian squad. This is, we all knew this was going to happen. It was only a matter of time. They took a run at picking up both of these guys last year. They failed. They finally get Nico, and G2 refused to sell the kid, obviously, because he is the only thing keeping their roster in the Tier 1 scene. So it's no surprise that they were unwilling to let him go. But the rumour is that Monesy's contract expires very soon. And if they don't sell him now, then he will walk out the door for free. And then Falcons win regardless. So the least G2 can do is try and get some money for him. And apparently, this is according to Overdrive, so take it with a pinch of salt. Apparently, they paid $2.5 million for Nico, which is probably, there's probably an asshole tax on there as well, but it's Falcons. It doesn't even matter. The money is nothing to them. They're not in the business of building rosters, they're in the business of buying rosters. Dexter will obviously be on his way out, unfortunately. He's just not been able to make too much of a mark. But I think it's quite similar to the Art Frost in Spirit situation, whereas there was nothing wrong with Art Frost. He was a really great AWPer, but if you have the chance to get Shiro, you're probably going to take it. And this is the same sort of deal, which is a shame for Dexter, obviously. He's been underperforming more so than you'd expect, I believe, but definitely not a bad player by any means. So this was some wild news that sort of came out of nowhere yesterday, and this was that Eternal Fire have sold their roster to Aurora, the Russian organization. They benched their entire team, Aurora, after failing to make it through to the MRQs, and they've just picked up this roster, with Faber and everything. So it's just a full EF roster being picked up. Completely unexpected. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw this. It's not huge news as in it's going to make a big impact on the scene, because it is just one team going to another team. But we are going to be seeing Aurora at the major, which is interesting. I think they posted quite a funny tweet, and they said, yeah, here we go. This is it right here. From now, they got to represent our colours at all the top CS tournaments, and finally, majors. It's just a little bit of shade to their previous Russian team, which is quite funny. So obviously, the previous Russian team, they've all been benched now, and Klax, Kensi, Patsy, Norby, and Grix, they couldn't really get it done. Just a very consistent tier 2.5 team, and as you can see, they didn't make it to the MRQs, unfortunately, which I believe is the main reason why they decided to bench this roster. These guys will probably go their separate ways, I imagine. I did actually see a rumor. This is I saw it on Twitter through Harumi, I think it was, and it was that Grix, this Belarusian kid, really, really lights out stuff he's been doing recently. I watched him during that Galaxy Cup, and he was nuts. But apparently, there's a rumor that he might be going to G2, which would make sense. Monesy's about to be out of the door. This kid's really up and coming, really talented. So that's one route for him. The rest of the players, who knows? These guys have been in the scene for a long time now, and their results are just pretty middling. Look at all their ratings. They're just not anything to really write home about. So it remains to be seen what will happen with the rest of them. I've just seen this now. The report literally came out probably 10 minutes ago. You can see the threads are still like lighting up. Please, Spirit. Falcons want Kaiosuke. Spirit, please. Falcon 0. Media reports that Falcons are eyeing up Kaiosuke. So if you aren't aware who Kaiosuke is, he is Donk Jr., basically. He plays on Spirit Academy, and he is, touted as the next big thing. He recently played on, was it Para de Party LAN or something, some bookie CIS LAN, and he was tearing ass in this LAN. This kid is sick. He's been farming online for ages with Team Spirit Academy, and he's really got quite a lot of buzz behind him, and obviously enough so that Saudis have come along with their blank check. They want this kid. Obviously, I mean, look at this roster down here. Mozi and Kaiosuke, that would be quite something. Tezos is apparently touted to make way on this roster, because Magisk and Zonic obviously can't possibly be kicked from this organization. So this would be a pretty nuts move. Obviously it's just a rumor right now. There's no guarantee. Obviously Falcons have just sort of expressed interest. Who knows if Spirit will let him go? They sort of were trying to keep hold of him by the sounds of it. Somebody did a little interview a while ago, and they said they wanted to keep him on the academy team for at least another year before allowing him to explore his options. The general consensus I've seen on HOTV so far is do not let him go. Spirit need to act now before it's too late. You don't know what drives this kid, whether it's to win or to make as much money as possible, but he can't do as much as effectively on Spirit Academy as he would be able to do on Falcons, most likely. So the only real chance they have of keeping him is if they promote him. Cut somebody from the main Spirit squad and shoehorn this guy in. I believe that is probably their only chance of keeping him. Will this pan out? It remains to be seen. It's early days.